how to use pattern selection and how to work with individual transformations. Hello everyone, this is a quick video. I tested a design, something similar to a shipping container. I'm not following any design specific, any sizes, so I'm just going to make it kind of just a visual. And I came across, this is actually quite helpful, where the pattern selection is very good. And then I came across some confusion with the individual transformations. So I want to clarify that, how this works. It took me actually a while to figure out what's going on. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to add some segments over here to kind of do this. And now the idea here is that I need to select every second one and make them bigger. So this is where I'm going to the face loop selection, and I'm selecting the loop like this, which selects the entire loop. But if I turn on the custom pattern, it allows me to actually select one and skip one. Now I have to be careful the amount of segments it is. I can do segment based, I can play with these things, like how many segments and so on, but and play with these settings over here. But you can see over here, actually this is an odd number, so it's not really, it gives me the edge. So I'm actually gonna change the design itself. So I'm gonna make this, instead of the segments, make it 16, make it 15. And now this should be actually working as expected. So I'm selecting from here to here, and this is basically the pattern, how this works. You can switch with this, changing like what you want to select, how many you want to select. Let's say you want to select 2 and then skip, or you want to skip more. You can play with these things. In this particular design, actually need to select one and skip one. So it selects every second one. Now I'm going to deselect these sides that I don't need, and I have selected basically everything I need over here, and automatically the other side as well. So far so good. This is the pattern selection, which is actually quite helpful in many designs. And now I'm going to extrusion, let's say extrude it by 10, something like that, and this gave me the basic design. Now here's the challenge. I need to scale this, and I need each one individually to be scaled, not the entire size. If you look over here, the size in the X direction, which this is the X axis, is 346.66. And this is because it takes the complete selection, everything the size. So if I'm going to scale it, over here you'll see the same thing. You can scale it from here or from the box below. It will scale the entire thing, so this wouldn't help. And this is where individual transformation comes in. But there's some confusion. So if I have over here the size 346, if I want to make this smaller, I can type in, for example, at 300, and it will scale the entire thing 300. Let's see if I make it 300 now. The entire thing gets scaled. It wouldn't work as expected, but still I can make it a lower number and it works as expected. If you turn on, however, individual transformations, this is where everything gets set to 0. And the reason SelfCAD sets this to 0 is because, I mean, in this particular case, each of them are the same sizes, so they can show the size. But in many cases, individual, you have a variety, different amount of sizes, so you cannot really show the size. Either you size them all together, which is without individual, or individual, there's no really a size, or an average size wouldn't make a lot of sense. So they set it to 0. And what I had a confusion is, I was trying to scale this down by negative, let's say, make it smaller by 5. So I thought my individual is on, then I can make it -5. And I was confused. You actually see it turns red. You cannot scale it. It's kind of indication you cannot do it. But if you type in, nothing happens. And this indication red also. And the reason is you cannot make it -0, because 0 is basically the size. So what you can do here is that you need to know the size of this. I already looked at this size. Actually, I don't. I looked at it before. The size over here is 26.66. Okay, so let me undo the selection. So it's 26.66. And now if I want to make this smaller by a certain amount, I have to remember my size 26. And now if I want to make it a little smaller, let's say I'll make it by 20. So I just type in 20, and this basically gives me what is expected. Maybe I want to make it shorter, so I make it 15. So basically it's an absolute size. What is the size of the face? And if I want to make it bigger, I can just make it, let's say, 40, and this becomes bigger. So there's no negative and positive, and you cannot go lower than the actual size. I mean, you cannot go lower than 0, basically. So it's just the actual size of the way this is working. Okay, so that's basically it. The other thing I want to show you here is, which is not a big deal, but I've shown before, if you're going to use the gizmos, This also wouldn't really make a lot of sense because it scales in one direction. And this is where symmetry comes in. So if you turn on symmetry, so if you use the boxes, it's always symmetrical. If you use the gizmos, it's by default not symmetrical unless you use the center gizmo. If you're scaling it to one axis, it will not be symmetrical unless you turn on symmetry. So if you turn on symmetry, now you can basically use the gizmos and kind of scale it visually how this makes sense. So that's basically it. That's all for this video. And let me know in the comments if you want me to, if you learned something new, if you want me to show anything else. Okay, thanks for watching. Bye.